Hey folks, so thanks for tuning in. Sorry it's taken so long to get this video out with a full review of the SimpliSafe system in use. As I mentioned in the previous video, we've had a home renovation project here that's taken a bit longer than expected. But a couple of days ago we actually had an attempted break-in. I'd left a window unlocked and I found someone trying to climb through at 3 a.m. in the morning. Didn't see the guy's face, heard some noises, got out of bed, shouted into the dark and heard a voice back, so he clearly was sort of talking inside the house in the living room just here. But turns out when I shouted, he made his way back out of the window, crossed the street. Police came very quickly and nothing was stolen. He didn't even make it into the house. But that could have been a very dangerous situation, and it certainly prompted us to think a lot more about security, set the system up properly. We got some motion sensors on either side of the house, and a Nest cam on one side, a Wise cam on the other, which I'll go into in another video. But have the SimpliSafe system set up now and wanted to walk you through it. So when it comes to the SimpliSafe system, you have this keypad. We actually got these remote fobs that I put on my keyring here. There's the base station, which contains the brains of the unit, the cellular chip that connects to the cellular network, and also the Wi-Fi, and that also has the siren built in, and I've hidden that away in a cupboard. We also have the sensors. I have a glass break sensor, a motion sensor, and several window sensors, but I've actually ordered a lot more. I've ordered the additional siren to put on the outside of the house, another glass break sensor because it only really covers a couple of rooms, and more window sensors because we've got a lot of windows here. So first of all, I wanted to show you these, and I've been using this fob a lot. It's super handy. So it has 3 modes. You can turn it off, you can set it to home mode, which essentially puts a perimeter setup around, so it arms all of the windows and doors, but it doesn't turn on the motion sensor because it assumes that if you're at home, you're going to be walking around, maybe you'll have pets or kids. It doesn't want any false alarms. So that's home. Away mode, the main difference there is that it does activate the motion sensor, and it gives you this countdown, so you can toggle it, you can make your way out the front door, lock up, and it will arm itself. So let's put it onto home for now. Of course, you can do exactly the same through this, but you have to put in your PIN number to do so. Let's put it onto home. And you can go through the menu here. And so what the menu allows you to do is to set up your PIN numbers, connect new devices, name those devices, so you can say, you can call them, front door, for example, or motion sensor living room. You can test the system, you can set it up to connect to your Wi-Fi system as well, so it can update as required, and also has a backup, just in case it needs to get in touch with the monitoring service. And that's all fairly straightforward. So let me show you the sensors that we have set up here. So this is what the window sensor looks like. Now if I just swing back and put it into home mode. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to open the door and show you what happens. So if you heard that, even when the alarm's off, it'll make a noise from the base station to tell you that a sensor has been triggered. Now if I put it into home mode, and now I try opening that door, you'll begin to hear the countdown from the keypad here. And so I can enter my PIN, or I can turn it off with my remote. And so you actually heard the alarm go off there, and I was speaking to SimpliSafe today, and apparently They give you 30 seconds for the alarm to go off before actually notifying the monitoring service. So, say someone opens the door, there'll be 30 seconds there before the monitoring service kicks in. The monitoring service will then try to phone the primary contact, so you can have 1 or 2 contacts there. And if they don't get through, and I think they ring for 5 rings to each number, or if they do get through and you give them the wrong safe word, they will dispatch the police. And another thing that you can set, of course, is, say this is in home mode. That's currently set for 10 seconds. So once the door opens, when it's alarmed, it'll give you 10 seconds to put in the PIN. And you can change that to whatever time you like, within a certain number of settings. I've set it to 10 seconds. I think the default was 30 seconds. You can, in one of these modes, I forget which, you can set it so it's immediate. So the alarm will go off as soon as the door opens. So that might be something you want to do if you're perhaps a little bit more security conscious. So let me just show you the setup on the windows here. Very similar to the door. Now if we open this window here, you can hear that the sensor was open. And let me show you the motion sensor. So this is the motion sensor. As I mentioned, there's actually an orientation to this. So you see there's a button on the top. With the button on the top, the motion sensing capability actually comes down towards the floor and not above the unit, and of course forward. So you want to have it in that orientation if it's mounted up against the wall, for example. When I first set this up, I didn't realize I had it the other way around, and it really had trouble sensing me, even if I was just walking through this room. So that's something to be mindful of. I've tested it out pretty thoroughly, and it definitely triggers now, so that's great. The glass break sensor I've placed over here. As you can see, we've got quite a few windows in the living room, dining room, and so this hopefully will pick up any breaking glass from these 3 rooms, including the entrance there. So that's that. Great, so now I've walked you through my setup. I wanted to just talk about some of my initial impressions. So first of all, I think this system is super easy to set up. Never had an alarm before, but this one couldn't have been easier, really. It's all wireless, of course. The sensors are really easy to place. They look pretty sleek and small compared to some of the other ones I've seen on the market. This keypad is very easy to operate. Love that it sort of turns on as you touch it. These key fobs are a nice addition. It's a little bit big to keep in your pocket, especially when you have other keys in your car fob. But it's useful to have and makes using the alarm a lot more easy. The motion sensor, I would say, you got to be careful about where you place it. I didn't realize that the orientation of it matters. So if you have the button on the bottom versus the top, the field of detection actually changes, shoots down or shoots up. So that's something you got to be wary of. The glass break sensor, of course, probably not going to have a chance to really test that out until something breaks. Maybe in the kitchen, a plate drops or a glass smashes, or fingers crossed, hopefully we don't have to test it with a window breaking, but we'll see. So, pretty good. I would say, the app itself is pretty bare bones. With the $15 a month subscription, it will tell you the current state of the alarm, so whether it's alarmed, whether it's disarmed, what mode it's in, when it was armed, and it gives you a history of that as well, and if any sensors were activated, or if the alarm went off. So that's nice. The app doesn't actually support multiple users, so you have to log in through one account. So me and my wife share an account together, which seemed a little bit odd, but I guess it works. This key fob is nice. I do slightly worry about the security of it, in that it bypasses the pin. So when you press this button off, it will turn the alarm off. So, if a burglar did get in, this was lying around, they probably wouldn't know what it was for, but there's a chance they could just press this button and turn the alarm off. Another concern with the monitoring system, and this is probably very universal across systems, because I know they really don't want false alarms. The police don't want to be inundated with calls. But it does take 30 seconds of the alarm going off, for them to actually inform the monitoring company, or for the monitoring company to begin their sort of calling the primary contacts. If they don't get through to those, then calling the police. And so all of that is a delay. And, you're probably talking a minute from the sensor going off through to the police being contacted, if it actually, if it happens. And that could be too long, depending on how long the police take to come. The burglary may have happened by then, assuming that the burglar wasn't deterred by the siren going off. Another concern is, if the burglar does make it into the house, they find you pretty quickly and tell you to turn off the alarm, put in the PIN number, or I'm going to, do whatever, within that 30 seconds, then the alarm would go off, it would turn off, and the police wouldn't be notified. And they would never sort of check in with you to make sure everything was okay. So, that 30 seconds is not a long period of time, but conceivably that could be an issue. And apparently that's not customizable. What is customizable is the sensors, and whether they go off immediately and how quickly the alarm goes off. So that's good. I'd say cost-wise, it's not been too bad. It does add up when you actually realize how many sensors you need to buy for your home. And we've probably spent close to $600 on the initial kit and some additional sensors now, plus the $15 a month monitoring. Now, perhaps we're going to go for the $25 a month monitoring. Probably we will do that when we're away, on holiday, for example, just because it can allow you to keep an eye on things a bit more closely. You can remotely turn off or on the alarm. But even then, I feel like the app is still quite bare bones. So, that's pretty much all I have for now, but very interested to hear what you think. If you have any questions about the alarm, I'm still getting used to it. Do feel free to ask in the comments, and thanks for watching.